Alright, so I thought this week we would add some sliced tomatoes to those hamburgers we're making for the dolls. So stay tuned and see how fun and easy this project really turned out to be. Alright, so being totally honest, I've never made a tomato cane before in my life, but it's one I've wanted to do, so I decided to bite the bullet and do it today. And I'm really late getting started with my video because I've been sick most of the week and just feeling like crap, so I didn't feel like doing anything. So this should be an interesting video. Alright, so we are starting out with some pale yellow, but I don't want the green that is stuck to it. I looked up several different of my reference books that had tomatoes and found directions that looked reasonable, and I've kind of combined them, and I'm going with what I thought was the best of all the ones I saw. So that's where we're going, where we're coming from. So I'm starting out with a pale yellow cane. I don't know if I said this is Sculpey Lemonade. I have no idea if I already said that. Sorry if I did. And we are going to partially wrap it with a dark green. In this case, I am using Primo in Spanish Olive. So I'm going to roll some Spanish Olive through my pasta machine and make a nice thin sheet of it. So yeah, I've got my notes off to the side. This is one I've wanted to make for a long, long time. But I've always been kind of chicken. It looks difficult, quite frankly. It's got a lot of steps. So I decided it was time to do it though. Alright. We are going to cut this here. Cut this here. We don't need it to go all the way around. We only need it to go part way around. And we're going to go like that. All right. Now, our next color we're going to use is some Primo Translucent. This is going to be our tomato seed. This is going to be hopefully translucent enough. It's going to represent that clear liquid that's in the tomato. It makes up the bulk of the inside of our tomato. So I am going to run this through my pasta machine on the thickest setting, I think. Get it worked up a little. And one problem with making tomatoes, it's a commitment. You end up with a lot of cane because it's pretty detailed. So once again, if you're going to make this, use what you need. Only roll down to size the portion you need. Leave the rest of it oversized, and then store it where it won't get too hot, and you can work it down later and make more. And you can use it for other scales that way. So I leave it bigger than the largest scale I plan to use. All right, I'm going to wrap that around here, trying to get rid of any air bubbles. And I'm going to cut it so it doesn't go around that part, because our seeds will need to grow out of the center of our tomato. Now the center of our tomato, I'm making quite a large substitution, and I'm hoping it works. So let's get this first. All right. So most of the directions I found called for this color for the center of the tomato. This is Fimo in Flesh Pink. I think most of the classic female colors have become their pro line. I'm not sure. I haven't seen this in a store in a long time. So I'm hoping this works. I am substituting the closest color I had, and that being, I'm going to open a fresh package. It is Sculpey in beige. It's got that same kind of pinky undertone. It's a little more pink. In fact, I think it might work better. I'm not sure. Hopefully this will work. Yeah, I really prefer to have, I would really prefer to have a tomato. And it was on my grocery list yesterday. But I ran into a neighbor and started talking to her, and I walked out of the produce department without my tomato that was on my list. Didn't realize it until today when I went to make my miniature tomato. So we are not working with the tomato. So I made kind of a half circle, because what we are going to do is we're going to make half the tomato in this step, and then we're going to make the other half. And we want it to have, I'll come back and do that part. So I am going to cut this like this. Let's put these over in the scrap pile. I want to cut this into quite a few pieces. That's 2, 4. Let's see if we can get by with 8. We're not going to make ours as detailed as the book I've got shows. We're going to build these around, which means this needs to be fatter. Still keeping that half round shape. I think I'm not going to go even that many. More. Alright, so I got 7 around mine. Get that off level in the back. Get all these little bits off. Yeah, this could be an interesting tutorial. Not sure how it's going to work. And we're going to, first let's put this up. I need to make this thicker so I can make 2 of them out of it. Whoopsie. Okay, that one just got really out of shape. What I'm doing is I'm squeezing and hopefully making it smaller. I'm reducing the size and making it thicker, because we can't roll this one on the tray to make it thicker. We've got to pull. And the ends are going to be distorted. That's okay. Let's cut this and see what it looks like. This may be a disaster. I can really tell I've got different types of clay. Okay, that doesn't look as bad as I was afraid it did. I'm going to take my red. Now I have some Primo in pomegranate, which I need to get conditioned and rolled out. So let's see if I can get this open. I had some small packages, or some small bits of clay left in my container, but I decided just to open up a couple of new packages for some of this. And this one I can tell I am going to have to condition it. So I'm going to turn the camera off. I'm going to get this clay conditioned. When I get it conditioned and rolled out to a nice smooth shape, I'll come back. Alright, so I've got this conditioned and rolled out. Now I'm going to cut a straight edge. I don't know why I just cut it like that. That was dumb. Alright, a nice straight edge. We are going to cut this like this. We need So we need to wrap this. We want it to come a little ways in, not all the way. We are rolling, 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 and a little bit more than that. I want it to come about that far. Oh, am I going to have to roll this again? I'm going to have to roll this all out again. That's what happens when you cut it badly. But that's okay, because we need another round of this. And I'm rolling it on the thickest setting on my pasta machine. My knife is getting really dull. I think it's almost time for a new clay blade. All right, I want a little of this in the middle. Kind of marry those two together with this. Center of a tomato has that little funky shape. Oh, this looks weird at this point. Now we need to get everything kind of mushed. And it looks really bad at this, especially this side will look really bad at this point. It's okay. Don't panic. Let's get some more of this rolled out, get all of this out of our way. And it will look better when it's done. Otherwise you won't be seeing the videos, so I'm guaranteeing it will look a lot better here before we're done. White, but if I do this way, get this rolled. There. Now we just need to reduce this carefully. So I am going to cut the video here, and when I come back I'll be working on specific scale. Alright, for our 18-inch dolls we need to take this cane now down to about 3/4 of an inch is what I've decided I want. And you can tell it's going to make a lot. I'm going to roll the whole thing. I'm not going to go quite, yeah, I'm going to do most of it. And it's feeling loose. I can feel it moving. That means I need to squish. Technical term, squish. There. Till it doesn't feel like it's moving around inside. Remember, our 18-inch dolls, we want approximately 1/3 scale. So a 1-inch diameter piece would be a 4-inch tomato. I'm going to make my tomatoes about 3/4 of an inch, which will equal, I think, a good sized tomato. Where's my 3/4? I've got my whole gauge again. We're almost down to there. My ends are feeling really loose though, so I'm going to cut my ends off. And that gives us a little sneak peek. Hopefully this looks good. So this is down to about 3/4 of an inch. It's pretty close. So I am actually going to put this into my freezer for about probably 20 minutes to a half hour. I'm going to take about this much is what I'm going to work with right now. And oh, that looks pretty good. I'm going to put this in the freezer. When it's nice and solid, I'll come back and we'll cut some slices. Alright, so these have been in the freezer for about a half hour. Check them after 20 minutes. These are pretty hard, but I knew that my filming lights would probably melt them pretty fast and make them soften again. So what I like to do when I cut a round shape is I kind of, if I can do this on camera, it's harder on camera. I swear it's easier when you don't have a camera. Kind of roll as I cut. That keeps them more round. Probably don't need to be quite that thin. And these are fairly solidly, not really frozen, but they're solid. Whoops, I came up crooked. If I wasn't on filming this, I'd have my head right over it so I could see if I was going straight. Alright, I'm just going to do a couple, and I'll do the rest off camera, but I want to show you what we're going to do now. Move these to your paper plate that you're going to cook them on, and take a small pointy tool. This is a dotting tool, I believe they're called. They're also, I'm not sure what else they're called. I call it a pointy tool. But where you've got that translucent clay, I want you to kind of indent that just a little bit, kind of rough that up, kind of make that go down. Try not to make the seeds or the flesh of the tomato. We're trying to make that liquidy part look like it's liquid. That's our goal. So I'll do that again, and then I'm going to turn the camera off and do the rest of these. Cut however much I decide to cut. And you know, these aren't perfect, but that's okay. They weren't as difficult as I thought they would be. I will say that. Oh, I guess I'm doing two more on camera. Alright, I'm going to cut the rest, some more of this, probably not all of it, but most of it. And I'm going to bake these at 250 degrees since we are all Sculpey and Primo. I can bake a little higher than if it was Fimo, so I'm going to do 250, which is still a little lower than the package says, for about 10 minutes. And when these are baked and cooled, I'll come back and we'll get a look. So I'm going to pop back in here and show you how to deal with something, because I had a spot in the middle of my cane where I think this was one of the spots that I felt where it was loose, and it lost a lot of detail. So what I can do, I already kind of poked down where the seeds, around the seeds here. Since these aren't baked yet, I'm going to stack a couple of tomato slices, and then I'm going to end with one that has seeds all the way around. And now these will be baked together. Since they are unbaked clay, they'll stick together. And that way, now I have these all together. They can be displayed together. They're permanently attached once they bake, and no one will have to know that I had a boo-boo that I hid with those other slices. Just thought I'd show you that. Alright, these are baked and they're just fresh out of the oven, so they're still warm, but I think they turned out so cute. You could, I've got glitter on that one. You could definitely leave them the way they are, but I want to gloss up the centers. You could use clear gallery glass for this. I've used that in the past. I know that works. I've been playing with glossy accents on my clay, and so far I've not had any issues. I say so far because I've only used it a few months, and so far I haven't noticed any problems. Like nail polish will destroy your clay. So I'm going to put just a little bit. This does tend to, come on, oh, don't tell me you've plugged up on me. I just had you open. There we go. It tends to dome up, so you will need to spread it with the tip. And this is a product you find where you find like rubber stamping and card making items. It's used in that, with those types of crafting. I'm going to do this. And this I ended up baking for 20 minutes because I decided to make a whole tomato too, which we will look at here in just a second. I stacked up some of those ones like I showed you where they were kind of messed up. This one was too, but I didn't see it till I had everybody else all stacked up. And I wanted some that were separate. And some of these we can glue into our hamburgers too. Alright, now I need to set up, I'm going to put a clear finish on this whole tomato. So let me get my stuff out and I'll be right back. Alright, to give a subtle satiny finish for our whole tomato, and to make this tomato, by the way, all I did was I took one of the ends that I had cut off that was all malformed. I just closed it up all the way, took some extra bits of just plain red clay to make sure I had it all closed off, and I took some of the extra green and made the top. So that's all there is to that. So we are going to put a satiny finish on, and for doing that I like to use Future Floor Polish, and I know that the label looks different. I will try to find the link to what the label looks like now and put that in the blog post, so be sure and check the blog post. I've had this bottle for probably 15 years, and hey, I'm starting to make a dent in it. I'm down to here. It doesn't take much, and I use this a lot, but it makes a wonderful satiny finish that is completely compatible with the clay. It's an inexpensive product, and it's easy to use, and it just needs to set. It will remain just a little bit tacky, but not bad, and it makes a beautiful finish for something like a fruit skin. So I'm going to let this dry. I'm going to let the glossy accents dry, and then I'll take some photos, and those photos will be on the blog post, so be sure and go over there to check those out. If you haven't found my Facebook group, be sure and check the link in the description box of this video. I usually post some extra pictures to kind of tease you about what we're going to have for a project, and I also post pictures of other things I'm working on and let you know if there won't be a project. Also, it's a great place for you to show me what you're working on. I love to see what you guys are working on. I've had a couple of people, a couple of ladies with their granddaughters making tacos, and I'm loving looking at those pictures. They're doing a great job. So until next time, have fun with your dolls, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.